everybody, and welcome to the Sulky Show, the next edition of the Sulky Show. It's an all-star cast. Just look at this. It's like a Hollywood epic, this lineup we've got for this week's edition of the Sulky Show. We have
Scary movie.
Big movie. And we've got the one and only Matty Quinn, King of the Trotters here in the UK. How are you, Matty?
Darren, you all right? Thank you.
Yeah, we've got the legend that is Watson Harrop, who's got two big chances in the Green Hornet Grand Final at Tir Prince this Sunday. How are you, Watson?
Not too bad, Darren. Everybody all right, guys?
Yeah, we're all in good form. We've got Sarah Thomas, who's normally on the G&T, but is on a cup of tea. How are you, Sarah?
I'm okay, thank you, Darren. I thought it was a little early to start drinking. I was going to say it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but it's technically 5 o'clock right here. But no, it's too early for me to drink. I'm still...
5 o'clock in the UK, but it's not 5 o'clock where this guy's from. No expense spared here on the Sulky Show. Let us introduce to you the one and only Yannick Gingras. How are you, mate?
I'm good, very good. Thanks for having me, guys. It's not 5 o'clock here, but I don't think it's too early to have a drink here either.
I don't need encouragement. Don't encourage me. This is my first teetotal Sulky show since like July.
No, we listen, Yannick. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to Watson for setting this up. We really do appreciate this. And you know, guys watching this around the world, you'll all know that Yannick is one of the world leaders in the art of sitting behind a horse in the sulky. Yannick, you've got a busy night ahead of you tonight. You had Breeders' Crown success last week. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, Yannick, because you hail from Canada.
Yeah, I was born in Quebec, Canada. Raced maybe a year or two in Quebec, and then I moved to Yonkers in New York in 2001. That's when I moved to New York. I raced there for a few years, and then I moved to New Jersey. That's really where I wanted to be. That's where the big races and the best horses were at. And even though I was really young and maybe not quite ready as a driver to make that jump, I did anyway. Just trying to be a small fish in a big pond, if you can say. And then it's worked out pretty good. I've been there for 15 years now, and I've been really enjoying what I'm doing.
And during your childhood, was this it? Was this all you ever wanted to do?
Yeah, yes and no. I wanted to race horses for sure, but then during my teenage year, I wasn't so much about the horses, so I did go to school and I finished college, but then at that point, like maybe my last 2 years of college, I knew that racing horses would be something I wanted to do.
And your resume, it's so impressive. I mean, you've won all the races that matter. You've driven some great horses over the years. You're a Dan Patch winner, driver of the year. Where do we begin with your career? I mean, looking at the great horses that you've driven, is there, which horses do you fondly recall?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few, honestly. To even name just one, I think it would be unfair to the others. The first great horse I'd driven, really at the beginning of my career, and I probably didn't appreciate her the way I should have, because I just thought horses like that would come on all the time. Her name is Darlin's Delight. She made just a little less of $3 million, and I was 25, 26 back then, and she probably would have made 5 if I was the driver I am today. That drove her back then, because I feel like I lost a lot of races by inexperience. But looking back at it, she was the first great one. After that, I would say probably Foiled again. How can you not put him on the top of anyone's resume? He's just a tremendous racehorse, and I feel like her career was a little bit took off at the same time. He was doing good, and then all of a sudden, at the same time as he became the champ that he is, that's when I really started doing better as a driver. And he's a horse I'll never forget. Then there's multiple of others that I thought were great horses, like Father Patrick and Mission Brief, and Until Tall Dark Stranger came this year, and I think he, in my opinion, he's probably the greatest horse that I'd be lucky to drive another one like him. I can tell you that he's a great horse. I would probably consider him so far in my career the greatest horse I've driven. He's tough, he's fast. He's strong. He forgets, and I think it's very important in a racehorse that they forget what happened last week. And Foiled Again was like that. And I didn't think I would ever drive another one that would forget as easily as he did. But Tall Dark Stranger does as well. And those are all great horses. And I know I'm forgetting many, like Ariana G and many others.
And do you keep a tally of how many winners you've driven?
Honestly, I would have no idea. I'd much rather keep a tally of the last column on the right, the earning column. That's always been the column that I worry about. That's part of the reason why I came to the Mountain back in those days. I could have stayed at Yonkers and raced on the B circuit and probably made race twice as many horses, win twice as many races. But at winning races, yes, I want them all. I want to win them all, but I don't want to be in a lot of races. I don't race as much as some of the other guys. I try to concentrate on the big races.
Sarah, you've got a few questions for Yannick?
I have got a few questions, and actually, having listened to some of what you said there, Yannick, kind of leads on quite nicely. I did my homework before we came on today because I thought I don't want to get caught on the back foot here looking like a bit of an idiot, especially seeing as Watson's actually here, probably waiting for me to trip up a little bit or something.
This is all in your head.
It's not all in my head.
It's all in your head.
It's not all in my head. No,
I'm not against you. I'm not against you like you think I am. It's in your head.
He's trying to catch me out, Yannick, definitely. So you mentioned there about moving to Yonkers back in 2000, 2001, which is obviously what I'd kind of done a bit of reading on. Was there somebody at Yonkers at the time that gave you like a kind of breakthrough chance, or did that come more when you moved to New Jersey? Was there anyone in particular that just gave you that chance?
I would say there's three guys that really helped me in my career at that time. First was Daniel Dubé, the driver. Daniel Dubé, he races at still at Yonkers. He raced at the Mountain for many years. He was a tremendous help. I lived with him for 6 months before I even got an apartment, and I probably couldn't afford a rent or afford even food. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for him at that time in my career, so he was a tremendous help. But to him, it wasn't so much about the horse; it was more about a place to stay and a place to live. After that, there was two trainers, Mike Carousel, unknown by most, but he's a guy that only had like a few cheap horses at Yonkers, but he was the first guy that really put me on horses, and he had a stable of 20 horses. And no quality in there, but like great guy. Never complained when I made a mistake. He was like the first guy that gave me a chance with the stable of multiple horses. And then the third guy is Mark Ford. He came in about 6 months after I'd been to New York, and he didn't have a lot of horse racing at Yonkers. It was just the best ones all the time, the best quality, higher classes. So it was a perfect match between those two trainers. It would be no conflicts, and they really helped my career big time, those two trainers plus Daniel Dubé.
And along the way, maybe it was one of those guys that maybe said something, maybe it was somebody else, but what was the best piece of advice that you were given kind of during that early part of your career when you were starting out? Is there a piece of advice that stuck with you that you kind of lived by up to this point?
Well, I would say the best piece of advice I've ever gotten by anyone is my dad. That was before that time. It's just before I left home. But I was racing amateur races at the beginning in Quebec for maybe the first year, and I'd get really happy if I'd win, and I'd be really sad if I lost. But then you have to live a whole week because it was only once a week, those amateur races. So I'd have to live either on that high or on that low for a week long. And my dad told me right at the beginning, he says, you need to learn to not get too high and not get too low. He said, you need to just stay right down the middle. He says, that's the best thing that can happen to you. He says, don't celebrate and go party if you had a big night, but don't go home and cry if you have a bad night. And it stuck by me. It stuck with me. I think, even in big races, you got to be able to turn the page. I see it sometimes. Some other guys struggle with turning the page. And I think I've done pretty good with that. Being able to, I made a break with Father Patrick in the Abletonian. The worst that can ever happen to anyone, I think, in harness racing. 3-5 in the Abletonian to make a break. And then the next race, it was Reclamation. And I won the, whatever it was, the Lady of Liberty or the Golden Girl. I was able to turn the page and, concentrate on the next horse. And I think it's so important and to be able to do that.
That is good advice. I remember kind of follow that myself at some point. Not that I drive in races, but there's other stuff that probably applies to. And obviously, Darren's kind of gone through it a little bit with you, and you've gone through some of the horses that have stood out in your career as well, and some of the races that you kind of rhymed off there. Is there anything still left on your bucket list in terms of winning races that you haven't won that you still want to?
Oh, absolutely. There's many actually, but the two that at the top of the bucket list, and they'd be surprised many people with the order that they would be. They're 1 and 2. They're not 1 and 1A, but the Elite Lop would be the first race I would want to win. I truly enjoyed the Swedish atmosphere, especially that day. I think it's second to none. I've been to obviously the Embleton many times, but the Elite Lop I've been there 3 or 4 times. I think 3 times for the Elite Lop day. And I've been to the Prix d'Amérique twice. And I think the Prix d'Amérique, the show that they put on, may be the best. But the atmosphere and the crowd, the cheer, the chills you get, there's nothing like the Elite Lop. I think that would be the race. I think the greatest thrill I think you can get as a driver is winning that race, and the crowd after the race would be unbelievable. And of course, number 2 would be the Embleton. I've been close, a few times now. Been second 3 times, and unlucky a couple others. So that would be a race that I definitely would love to check off the bucket list. Now, there's some others, but those are the 2. Of course, I would love to win the Prix d'Amérique. I think it's another great race, I think, as a driver, but I think it's a little more far-fetched. It would be something, I think, if I were to ever compete in it again, I would like to move to France for like a month or 2 prior to it and really learn the system, learn the track, and I just think going there for one day. Elite Lop is different because it's 1,000-meter track, 1 mile race. It's basically what we do here, but Prix d'Amérique, it's a complete different animal.
What about the Green Hornet Final? Would you not like to win that, Yannick?
As long as I beat you, I'm good to go. Yes. So yeah, I'd love to be in it. Just
You wouldn't have beat me because I put you on the second choice. You'd have got Stenhouse's by West End Magic. No, you would be good if you could have got West End Magic to beat Rhyds Star Quality. You might deserve to be as good as what people say you are if you can do that.
There we go. Watson giving away how he thinks his horse is going to go on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly.
But why Watson Harrop as a friend? I mean, how far back do you two go?
Actually, it's funny because should we? We're going to get in trouble if we do.
He doesn't want to speak about this.
It was through the racing app, Often Pacing. That's how we started talking through that, and we became maybe 3 years ago, probably now 2 or 3 years ago, I would say. But that's when we started really talking and stuff and chatting with one another.
And what has he told you about himself? Has he told you, is he, in your mind, is he one of the leading drivers in the United Kingdom?
I thought he was I thought he was the only one there. I didn't realize there was any other guys driving there.
Only me. There's only me, Sarah. Like the man said.
It's just I hear you're very popular on the continent, Watson. That's all that in European countries. Speaking of Europe, Yannick, you mentioned there about the Elite Lop and Sweden. Obviously, you drove in the driving championships last year for the first time. And for anybody that followed it, you finished second. Great success in some of the races. Really enjoyed it from all the kind of interviews and stuff I read. And obviously, you didn't just drive at Solvalla. So driving around all those other different tracks, what were the main differences that you found with the European style of racing, the style of driving, the horses? Were there major differences between what you're used to in North America, or did you find it quite easy to adapt to it?
It wasn't so hard because I've watched a lot of horses and a lot of racing from Sweden, but it's definitely different. They're not afraid to sit 2 wides, 3 wide, sometime even. But the longer distance make it possible because obviously the pace of the race slows down. For us, at a mile distance, horses can go 1500 they can basically go 1,500 meters at 100 miles an hour at their full speed and still win the race. That's just the way they are. So it was that a little bit the pace of the race, and it was more about positioning than being near the front. You didn't have to be so much near the front. Like second or third on the outside would be a good place to be, where in the US, if you're third on the outside, you're maybe at the half of the race. If you're third on the outside, you have about a 3% chance to win the race, maybe 2%, depending on the pace. So realistically, you have to change your mindset. But I'm all about being in the right place, right time. So you have to do it then. And I really enjoyed it. But I was surprised the quality of the racetrack on their B track. If you go in the US and our B track, the quality of the surface of the racetrack are not so good. But there, I thought the surface were good. Like even the one day, was raining, it was miserable, and the track surface was still pretty good, you know, for a bad day like that. So I was quite surprised and happy.
And in terms of how that fitted into your schedule, obviously nobody's going to turn down an opportunity to drive the World Driving Championships, but in terms of how your year pans out, do you think there's ever going to be a window opportunity for you to come to the UK and Ireland and maybe pick up a couple of drives and experience it here?
I would love to. I've been trying to go, you know. Yeah,
I've already sent me videos.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to go, actually, and it's just hard that the time that's available for, like, let's say the Delaney Memorial and stuff. It's just a tough time of the year for me, but I would absolutely love to one day. That's for sure.
There we go. And obviously, like, your kind of connection to the UK a little bit there was Watson, and we don't know what kind of Watson was telling you about British harness racing. Before you'd met Watson and got to know him a little bit, how much did you know about harness racing in the UK? Were you aware that we were really doing it over here, or was it something that it's only like the last couple of years, maybe through getting to know people like Watson and obviously the British horses that have gone across to America and Canada? Was that the point at which you first kind of became aware of what we were doing over here?
No, I definitely knew there was horses, but definitely once you know someone there and you start communicating and, you know, talk about the racing there, or like, and sometimes there would be horses coming here and he would mention it to me and stuff. So definitely then you become way more aware of the racing, the names, and then you know, it's a lot more fun to look at a race or look at horses and you know some people in the race versus if you don't know anybody, you know. So no, for sure, I was definitely aware of the racing there. I knew there was racing. I knew the racing, you know, was good, and there's good horsemen that came from there as well, you know. So I think you guys are doing a good job. It just you know, I would love to go see it in person. That's for sure.
And I've just got one last question. Obviously, I asked you what the best piece of advice you were given was. What would be the best piece of advice that you could give to young drivers over here? You know, who are maybe just starting out on their driving careers, or maybe not just young drivers, but drivers that have been doing it for a couple of years and want to take the next step, picking up catch drives and stuff like that. What's the one thing that you would say, you know, an important piece of advice to give to them?
I would say, and I live by this, is perception is reality. So the perception of people having of you, it's what's most important. I always want to put a horse in the spot to win races or to give them a chance. I think if you ask 99% of the people in the United States and about me, they'll tell them I give horses a chance in the race. I don't want to be known as somebody that don't give a horse a chance or even think about betting or any of that stuff. But I really believe the perception of people, what they have, that's like they say, like the first impression of someone goes a long way. Well, to me, it's the same mentality about it. Is if somebody thinks you bet a horse, everybody's going to think you bet a horse, even if you never have, but it's the perception you give them. So I think it's very important for a young driver, put your head on straight, go on the racetrack, do your job, and just try to stay clean. You know what I mean? Like, and not try, stay clean. And then that perception is going to go a long way.
That's a good bit of advice.
Absolutely. And of the drivers that you race against at the moment, Yannick, I mean, you know, there's some great talent out there that you're racing against. Yeah. You know, your Dexter Dunns, your Jody Jamesons of this world. I mean, is there one driver in particular? No disrespect to any of the others, but is there one driver in particular you still really look up to and think, right, I want to be where he is now? I mean, he's made that move. That's where I should have been. You know, is there one driver?
I don't know if I envy anybody what they are, but one driver that I mean, he's retired now, but like I would say Ron Pierce. I think Ronnie was he was a great driver. He would do things on the racetrack that I can't do. You know what I mean? Like I'll give you an example. One day at the Meadowland, there was a horse that he drove for Ron Burke. He didn't know the horse, and he goes on the racetrack, and I'm like, Ronnie, you got to keep this one quiet. You know what I mean? In the post-spread, he can be a little warm, right? So he goes off and wakes his butt up a little bit, and out he goes, and he can't stop him. He goes half a mile, probably a little more than half a mile at full speed. He had to go a half in 53 seconds before the race even started. He finally gets him pulled up at the end of the stretch. He walks him for 2 minutes, put him behind the gate. He wins in 47 with him, new lifetime mark. Like things like that. Like I just wish I could do things that he did. You know what I mean? Like it was amazing. Like the hands, he was half of a horse, really. You know, and then that's one guy I always looked up. And he's not driving now. If I had to say a guy that's driving now today, I mean, there's great talents, like you said. Like, every day I'm racing, I feel like, against the best in the world. But David Miller, I think, is on and off the track. You know, on the track he's a great driver, and off the track he's a great guy. Nothing but friends, and he can be tough if you're tough with him on the track, but if you're fair, he's fair. And then that's a guy I really enjoy watching.
And there's a great camaraderie among all the drivers. Yeah,
there is. Of course, there's some guys you get along better than others, but I would say the top 5-10 guys, we all get along. Some of them, like I said, you're better friends with than others. But it's a great camaraderie, and we have good times together. Honestly, this summer with COVID and stuff, we've been forced to sit in the parking lot, like I'm sure the same way as you guys, and everywhere around the world, I see guys changing out of their cars and stuff. So that's what we've been doing, and actually, it's kind of been like, it's not going to be so much fun now that the winter's coming, but for the summer, it was kind of nice. We all sat by each other and just have some good laughs between races instead of kind of all be separated in the paddock in our usual area that we would usually go to. So it's been fun. Looking at the positive of the pandemic, it's been the one fun part about it, like spending a little more time with the guys, basically.
And of those people out there watching this who don't know your weekly routine, your daily routine, roughly how many meetings a week would you actually drive at?
Right now, this time of year, it's usually about 5, 5 or 6, depending on if I go to Chester a little more or not. But like I said, I'm not one to drive a lot. I could drive 12, 13 meetings a week. You know what I mean? Like a guy like Tim Dietrich, he'll race every day, and most of the days two tracks. I try not to do that. It's what he loves to do, and I really don't knock it. It's whatever works for everyone. It's just not something that works for me. Like I race Chester 3 or 4 days a week, usually 3 days, and Meadowlands a couple nights.
And you were talking about, the British and Irish racing. We've imported a number of horses now from the UK and Ireland. I believe you've driven a few of them. You've seen a few of them. Have you been impressed?
Yeah, absolutely. I am. Like Meticulous GB, like as one of them, right? He came from you guys, I believe, and he was really good. And then Reclamation, she wasn't bred there, but she was bred here, I guess, but came from there. And then the one filly, I can't remember her name now, but she was racing against Reclamation, but Richard Norman trained her. Maybe Watson, you can help me with the name there, but she was really nice. That's it. Yeah, that's her. Yeah, so she was. So there's definitely really good horses coming from there. And then I have yet to sit behind any of them, but Burke, they bought 5 or 6. 6 months ago probably, right? And or a year ago maybe now, and then they've done really well, but I've yet to. They've been racing in the Midwest, so they haven't been around New Jersey and New York area, so I haven't sat behind them yet.
Now, what's in store for you tonight then, Yannick? Where are you off to?
Racing in Indiana tonight, so I got a flight around 2:30. Going to race there tonight. Is I have 4. There's all the 3-year-olds racing, but unfortunately they didn't enter Tall Dark Stranger. I think he's gonna be retired, but that's what the talk is for now anyway. But Peaky Sneaky is gonna be racing there tonight, so that's the best one I have there. She's been really super sharp, and I was just a little surprised last week that she was able to beat Party Girl Hill, but I thought honestly going into the race that if someone had a chance to beat her, it would be us, and thankfully it did. It happened that way.
And how has she come out of last week's race?
Honestly, she's come out of a race great, and she was pretty sore like all year long. Now she would start out a little sore and then warm out of it every week. And since she went to Kentucky a month ago, that track did her a world of good because the last 3 starts she hit the track sound as could be, and she's been really good, and she's gotten better and better every week.
You are aware that Watson's got a big weekend in front of him. He's qualified 2 horses for the Green Hornet Grand Final. We've got Rhyds Star Quality and West End Magic. Watson, you're driving Rhyds Star Quality. Just tell us about the 2 chances here.
Well, the West Star Quality went last week. You got to fancy, even though I suppose that he has got, it's a step up for him as well. He's a grade 4, and there's 9s and 10s in them with him. But if the trip works out for him, I do think he'll be somewhere near. He trained good on Thursday. We took him to the beach, and he trained pretty good. And he's had a day off today. He's been in the paddock. He's fresh, and I think he's got a really relatively big shout if he needs a helmet. See the rail, and hopefully a gap opens up somewhere. Can pull him off the back of that helmet somewhere in the last 1/8 of a mile. I think it'd be difficult to beat, Darren.
Okay, and West End Magic.
I think it's just a little bit of a step up too soon for him, to be fair. I think this horse was racing in novices and maidens only a couple of starts ago. To say that you can't say that he doesn't deserve to be there because he's won his way to the final. But that division he was in, with all due respect to any of the other horses that was in there, was probably the weaker division that he did win. And a lot of the horses in that race was on their maiden voyage in open class as well. So that was his first little tiptoe into the open grade. And this week he's in the deep end. So, but listen, he's got tons of ability. I just don't think he's got the experience to be able to battle off with them horses. But I think he's place shout. Along the rail, if he doesn't have to do too much too early, he's drawn one. He shouldn't have to do too much work to get a position. As you've seen in his last couple of starts, he's a good closer. If Andrew gets on with him well and he gets him away, who knows? He could be the outsider.
And Yannick, I don't know if you're aware of this. Watson's probably already told you. He is actually one of the informed drivers in terms of percentages. I mean, the amount of drives this guy's had over the last few weekends. I mean, he's
far more modest than what you're thinking of. I haven't mentioned none of this, Darren.
He's sitting
far more modest. Listen, I haven't mentioned anything about that. I'm batting, I think, something about 86 or something. Am I not batting?
Yeah.
I think it's that. I haven't done it wrong. I figured it out myself. I have figured it out for myself. I haven't told anyone.
I hate to break
86 or something.
But you've literally just told everybody on the Sulky show now, so it's out there now.
Yeah, but it's coming down to the season now. I was going to have to tell somebody sooner or later.
It looks.
Sorry, Matty, are we keeping you up?
No. Early start.
Yannick, may I introduce you to Matty Quinn? Now, Matty Quinn has got probably the biggest stable of trotters. He's got a few pacers, but he focuses mainly on the trotters. Regarding pacing and trotting, Yannick, do you have a preference?
I actually prefer trotters. Every horse I own, I would say 95% of them are trotters. I do prefer trotters. I think it's more rewarding if you do some good, and it's probably a little bit easier to make money as well. So yeah, I do prefer trotters. As far as driving them,
you've been thinking of Matty, Yannick, because that's about. I think that's the same opinion as what Matty's got.
I'll do it because I can't afford to race the paces.
But even driving, I think it's nice to drive a trotter, and you feel like maybe you help them a little bit here and there in the race to keep him at it. I think that I do enjoy it. But don't get me wrong, I like pacers as well. But if I had to pick one or the other, I would pick trotters.
And Matty, how many trotters have you actually got in training at the moment?
Well, I'm finished now, Darren, for the season. But I think it's 9, Darren.
You think it's 9?
I think it's 9, yeah.
Yeah.
For a full race by himself. This is the goal for 2021, is that Matty's going to enter all his trotters at York somewhere, and the full race is going to be his horses. And there's been mad scramble to find drivers because he can't drive.
His nickname, Yannick, now at York is Matty Melander.
Matty Melander. Oh, God. Bit of difference in quality, Watson.
Matty, in all seriousness, you've had a really good season.
Yeah, I've been happy, Darren. I've been happy enough with them. But, pleased with them, Darren.
And this week, you've been across the water. You've been to France. You've been looking at new horses. I believe, is it 19 horses have been bought by the owners and trainers involved in the TrotBritain La Trot scheme?
Yes, I think so, Darren. That's right, yeah. Yeah, some nice horses there was. Definitely.
And we're talking about, older horses that ranging between 5 and 8 years old with a bit of form. Yes.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Nice horses, Darren. Like to say, the horses that's dropped out the system in France, but they're still good horses here, Darren, you know what I mean? And the sound and the trot, and it's surprise money as well, Darren. You've got there's no way I could do this racing paces, Darren, you know what I mean? I've got I've got a nice pace of Springer Glory, but obviously Bar Connor's Dragon, he's the best horse I've ever had, Darren. But I've never won a race with him this year. He's hit the board a fair few times, but I think I've picked about 600 or 700 quid up with him, Darren. Yeah. Where I think I had one of the slowest trotters in the country this year. I finished second a couple of times with him and got 500 quid for second. Darren, it's just much more affordable, Darren. But I love the paces, Darren. It's loving. It's competitive and I love it. But sometimes it, just like me, like an expensive hobby for myself. like Watson as well. You've got to try and make it affordable, Darren, haven't you? You know what I mean?
And it sounds as though we're boosting the quality of the trotters. This latest trip that you've had to France, I believe the quality of the horses you've been looking at and trying, it's that bit better than we've had over the last few years. It's improving.
100%, Darren. Well, I've fetched, believe it or not, I've fetched a ready cash colt back, Darren. I didn't actually buy him through the sale. I bought him separate through a friend of mine, Adrian. A ready cash stallion by a workaholic mare. You're talking about some serious breeding, Darren, aren't you? You know what I mean? He's €40,000 service. I actually bought him off Anton Griezmann. He's the Barcelona captain and the French captain. I bought him off him. He was a €250,000 yearling.
Right.
And God love him, he ends up with me. But
so are you and Griezmann big pals then, big friends?
I wouldn't go that far. Like, I paid the money into his bank account. That was about it. About 30 seconds work for him or something.
And I believe.
What's that, Dan?
I believe quite a few new owners have come on board with the scheme as well.
There has, Darren. There's some good horses. I think there's Love You horses coming. Repeat Love, which is a full brother to Love You. Fantastic. Some nice horses coming down, you know what I mean? A few owners, Billy Grieverson, Ed McCarthy, who's only ever had paces. He's got one. I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, new owners, Darren, definitely. It's a good system. I like it, Darren, anyway. I like it.
So Yannick knows what we're doing. Yannick is we're buying, we're buying a number of trotters each year to boost the quality of the trotters we're seeing here in Great Britain. We're buying them from France. They're Trotter Francais horses. We have a scheme where owners enter the scheme and they actually ballot for the horse they're actually going to take on.
It's the same as that system what they had at Yonkers, Yannick. What Joe Bergero and Chris Oakes. Chris Oakes had a nice trotter. Well, what a nicer one out of the bunch, didn't he? That horse, exact same thing. You don't know what horse you're getting.
Yeah, I remember they did that at Yonkers. I think there was 20 of them or 24 of them for 20,000 each or something like that, and they drew numbers. Yeah, I remember when they did that 3 or 4 years ago. There was quite a few nice horses that came that way to the US.
Well, Yannick, I'll take 20,000 for all mine. I've got about. Do you know anybody interested? No, yeah, the Americans were getting some real nice horses there, like higher grade horses, weren't they? That's what they were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. And is there only horses, or there's some mares part of that group as well?
No, mares as well, mares, geldings, and we had a bit of a breakthrough this week, Darren. I bought a stallion. We bought one each. Me and my Uncle Joe bought a stallion each. Yeah. So basically, going to try and promote the breeding. I've got a few mares myself, which it'll be nice to go back to France. But then, like I say, I'm just a working class lad, and it's hard enough to keep them. Yeah. And take them back to France. Like I say, we've got my own stallion now. So, like I say, I buy not the best stallion in the world, but it's a start, Darren. You know what I mean? It's a start.
Sure, absolutely, that's good.
Yeah.
And you've had a great season, Matty. So Yannick knows that you are, Matty, apparently the leading owner and trainer of trotters for the 2020 season.
Oh, I'm not too sure I am. I think I'm level with Joe, Darren.
Well,
me and Joe level. I might be.
Well, you take it. I'm getting this information from TrotBritain.
Well, you could be right, but I think I don't count this. But Joe's very competitive, and
that's not right. That's not true. That's not true at all.
Believe me, Sarah.
The competition between these two has been ridiculous. You said you were going to keep your horses in training an extra week. Just
but I didn't. But it's good, Darren. It's good.
You can hold that over him now. If TrotBritain have confirmed that you are the leading owner trainer, Joe will be watching. I'm really sorry, Joe, but Matt.
I'll take that, Sarah. Joe, I'm sorry for that to beat you by one, but Joe's had a fantastic season. Sarah, he really has. He's had some good winners.
I think you need to pass your number on to Yannick, because I know nowadays every week all the drivers are scrambling to drive one of your trotters at York.
Oh, I don't know about that, Darren.
Well,
they're scrambling to get paid off, isn't it? When they don't get paid, they don't come back.
I can second that.
Watson, what did you tell me? Just drive a few winners for me. I'll never take a penny off you.
I can second that, Darren. All right. Last money.
You've got to look after that. And to be honest, like you say, it's good. Like I've had Alan here thought we had driving Rocker, some real top drivers, you know what I mean? And like you see, you get a lot with a great driver, you get a lot of feedback when they come back. It's like it's worth that bit extra, you know what I mean, Darren? So it's I
mean, yeah, I suppose that's it, Yannick. You know, as a driver, connecting with the owners and the trainers, giving them that feedback, an important part of the job.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's very important, and you can't just hang up the lines and hope for the best. Now you got to try to give them a little bit because I think 90% of what you see in a horse happens at high speed. You know, whatever they do during the week, it's conditioning but if they get on the line a little more than you want them to, or like those type of things happen at high speed. So you've got to be able to give the trainer some feedback and try to improve the horse for the following week.
Yeah, I agree there, definitely.
And Watson, what's the name of your daughter?
Lavencia.
And how old is she now?
2, just 2 and 2 months.
And is she enjoying the horses? Enjoying the racing?
Do you like horses, Lavencia? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, bless her.
Like Spotty. It's not that bothered about horse. She likes Spotty though. She got a little horse called Spotty.
And Yannick, have you got a family that are going to follow in your footsteps?
I have 3 kids. I have a son that's 15. He's not so interested in horse racing. He got a little interested through that app with Often Pacing with Watson for a little bit, but he's not much into the horses. And then I have 2 daughters. They're 12 and 8, and both of them are horse crazy, but they like riding horses. So they're not so much into the harness racing yet. And hopefully, knock on wood, it stays that way. I want them to do something else than of course I love the sport, but as a father, I'd rather my daughters to do something else.
And was being a jockey never on the agenda for you?
No, actually, I'm scared to death on top of one. As scary as that sound, I never felt comfortable as a kid riding horses. It wasn't for me. I don't feel in control at all. I just feel like I'm going to fall off every other second. So it's something I've never, ever enjoyed. Even now, sometimes my wife wants to go horseback riding and go in the wood and whatever, like with some friends, and I go, but I got to hold on with both hands on the saddle because I feel I'm going to fall off.
I can remember once reading something about an April Fool's Day about Yannick going to become a jockey a few years ago. Can you remember that?
Pretty funny. Yeah, I do. The guy actually wrote that and never even mentioned it to me. And then he called me the day before April's Fool, and he says, "Hey, I hope you don't mind, but I wrote an article saying that you're making a switch to the thoroughbreds. I hope you're okay with that." And I didn't. I was like, "Yeah, that's no problem." I thought it'd be a funny joke, but I didn't realize how high. I mean, how much is gonna go. But like, people actually believed it here. Like Corey Callahan called me like the day after, and he's like, "Hey, what about this thoroughbred thing?" And I'm like, then I kind of like figured he had to know, right? But then he was acting like he didn't. So I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, and you remember when I went to Florida 2 months ago, I told you I was training babies? Well, I wasn't training babies. I went to Gulfstream and I galloped a couple for, I think I told him Bafferts or something. I didn't even go to little trainers. I went right to the top." And he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Oh, good luck. I really hope, you do some good." Like everybody was like, kind of like, not everybody. Some of people read the article to the bottom, where at the bottom it says it's April Fool jokes, you know what I mean? But some people stop in the middle and had no idea, so it's pretty
It was
funny.
very convincing. It was very convincing.
Yeah, it was a good article, actually. Well written.
It was well written. I can remember reading it about 5 or 6 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And it was very convincing.
Yeah. It was good.
And Yannick, before you go, just give us a young horse, to watch out for maybe in the next 12 months.
I would probably say that. You guys probably know the name already, but Watson Harrop Jnr. He was on a good winning streak before the Breeders' Crown, and he raced good in the Breeders' Crown. He finished third. He got beat half of a head, but I don't think he was 100% that night. But he raced last night at Dover in the Matron, and he raced tremendous. World record, track record. He's done for the year now, so he's gonna be back next year. But he's a really, really, really nice horse. He's a gelding, so he's going to be racing for a few years. So it's kind of nice as well to be able to keep up on the horse that's not going to go to stud and after another doesn't start. But I think he's probably the best 2-year-old turning 3 that I'm going to have coming back next year.
Great to look forward to. And Matty, out of your squad, which horse would you be looking forward to seeing most of all next year?
Trotters or Pacers, Darren?
Absolutely anything.
I'm hoping this really cash horse. He's called Glenn Miller, for the famous singer. But yeah, he's only been okay in France. You know what I mean? He's unbelievably well bred, hence his price tag. But he's only 4. He's got a bit of growing and strengthening to do. I'm hoping him, Darren. But the horse, probably the best horse I've got, but he's been a bit unlucky with breaks, is Semino. Darren, he's very talented, fast steers. But I was getting a few things wrong on him early. But I think it's hard when they've come from these big mile tracks back to our half-mile tracks, and you've got to learn, like exactly what Yannick said. You learn things full speed, not just at home by yourself, like working easy or by yourself comfortable. When full speed is where, like in the heat of battle, where you learn. So I think I've learned a lot about him this year. I think he's my best horse. He's the one I'm most excited about anyway.
What did you do with that? Even with hustling, Matty?
Well, he had, I'm looking
grass racing back on with a bit of luck.
I'm looking forward to racing them on the hard and the grass, Watson. To be honest, when I got him, I had a little bit of success with him early. This year, he trained down lovely. He worked out with Spring Hill Glory in a fast time. He was going lovely. In the week, he had aluminium shoes on. In the week, I ran out of aluminium shoes, put a set of like Steels or Dwyers. Week after, he come out and went 2-4, and but got grabby. And at the start, I was like, "What's up with him?" For a couple, 2 or 3 weeks, I was struggling with him. I was like, "What the hell's up with him?" Anyway, Blacksmith went to show him the following time. Both feet were red hot. Anyway, it messed on with him. He just tubbed his feet for a week, and that, and just sort of lost a good bit of time with him, and sort of lost a bit of enthusiasm for him. You know what I mean? Having to start again with him, and but I found his problem anyway. So all being well, he should be all right for next season. I'm excited as well. So for him, so
onwards and upwards, Matty, with the TrotBritain and the Pro scheme, it's getting bigger and better.
Oh, definitely 100%, Darren. And I love it. And the prize money is fantastic, Darren. Where, as we all know, it's amateur and professional sport in England. But like you see, the trainers get paid. You know what I mean? They do a good job. They get paid, understandably. But for me, I've got to try and keep it affordable as I can. You know what I mean, Darren? And I couldn't do that with Pearsons, Darren. You know what I mean? There's not that. Like you see, I think our Pearsons in England are fantastic. I really do. Look at the horses that went over there. Meticulous, Sullivan Gun. They're one of the top 3, 4, 5 best horses in Canada. You know what I mean? And you know how we're going about Canada. You know what I mean? They're racing with the top lads over there. And yes. But the trotting, like you see, I love the trotting simply because it's good and everyone gets a fair chance, Darren. That's the difference. You all go in a hat, 5 or 6 lads. I mean, what Alan Haythorne wait. There's no better driver than him. He's probably the most knowledgeable man in England, or certainly one of them. And he some good lads went over and picked them, and they've all got to be happy with them. And you go in the pot, Darren, for £2,900, and everyone's. It's not like a rich owner comes along and gives, see a Spink and a few different ones, 25, 30,000 for horses, and they're buying a little bit of success. Because if someone come to me, sorry, Darren, are you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, it went off there. If I had a young Pearson horse and he was just grade 1 off the front, if someone come to me with 25,000, there's only one way he's going, he's in my pocket. Darren, I couldn't afford to keep him, you know what I mean? Where I could buy 10 trotters with this, Darren, and race for 3 times the money, Darren, you know what I mean? And I think Lee Trott, I know Emmanuel, Darren were over there with her the other day, and she thinks the world of you, Darren, and she gets on with you, and I think she's looking forward to working with you, and Bill and Jack, Bill Green, Jack Dowie, the passionate about trotting, Darren. And I see if they can just somehow work with you, Darren. And you can see, I know Emmanuel, but Emmanuel's happy with the progress it's making, Darren. You know what I mean? She said UK and Ireland are basically the main, they're the focus of our attention for Lee Trott. You know what I mean? So. By the way, Darren, as you know, she drunk all the men under the table over there the other day as well. Jesus Christ. I've never seen anyone drink wine like her. Our Joe and Mike Evans and all, John Nicholson. John Nicholson went with us for the first time of the day. He loved it. He's driving, he enjoyed it. And Alan Haythorne, you're obviously a big friend of his. Great fella. Great. He's a legend, isn't he? She drunk every one of them under the table, Darren. She wrote them all off. She'll be up Sarah Street.
If I'd been able to go along with you, the 2 of us could have done some right damage.
Oh, Darren, Sarah, you know, don't you? You know.
So, Matty, now you've been abroad, does this mean you're in quarantine or in isolation now for a couple of weeks?
Well, I've been out with you, Darren, so... No one. You know what though? We had to supposedly fill all these forms in coming back. Come back through the Euro shuttle. Watson knows because he's been to the Premier League a few times. That will go that way. Never said one word. It was like there was nothing happening.
Yeah.
So anyway, no one's told me. So I'm happy.
Hopefully we can get to the Premier League again in January with a bit of luck if everything's all put the bed-nits on. But I can't see it really.
I was I went and seen Davison DuPont.
Yes.
The girl last year, she let us see Bellina Jocelyn Davison DuPont on the morning of the Premier League last year. Baziria's place, and she went, she says, we love English chocolate in France. You can't get it, you know what I mean? Cadbury's, Galaxy things. So anyway, I took them a couple of bagfuls of chocolate over. I got the rip the piss out of us, like, Darren, for doing it.
I tell you what it is, you're right. You've got the art of chivalry right down to its fine art, haven't you, Matty?
I don't know about that, but she was over the moon to see you anyway. But she thinks
you've
it's
got
going
the
to
art
be
of
like
chivalry right down to a fine art. You have, Mr. Quinn.
I did about that. But to be honest, when I give the
chocolate
chocolate
to French maidens.
So there you go, Yannick. Matty Quinn, the ambassador for British harness racing.
Oh, I don't know about that. And we bought 2 good stallions over there as well. Sorry, Yannick. Sorry.
No, next time if you come to the US, you got to bring that chocolate here too. I love chocolate too, you know.
I'll bring you some chocolate. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Matty, you're a legend.
We met Yannick in the Premier League last year. I don't know if you remember. There's 3 chubby English guys. We met Yannick and the good young driver Joe Bongiorno. Two smashing lads. Like, we're nothing but polite. Fair play, Yannick.
Yeah. We had a good time. We had a big group going there last year. It was Dexter Dunn was there as well.
you were rough off the drink when I seen you, Yannick.
Oof,
you said
it was really rough.
You had too much.
Alan, you had them singing karaoke.
We were supposed to make a presentation, and we got there late. You know, the night before was too rough. I booked a bus. It was I think it was 16 of us from the US. So I booked a bus to pick us up here to bring us to the Prix d'Amérique. And 10 o'clock in the morning, my wife woke me up. I'm like, just tell the bus to go because I ain't making it. That was rough.
We'll get a taxi.
Yeah, we did, you know. But thankfully, I wasn't the only one that was pretty banged up.
I remember you
it was a good group. It was
the track already.
Yeah, they left us. Yeah.
Yannick, she's a bad influence, mate. Sarah, she'll get you on that gin. That'll be it.
No. Not this on me. You kidnapped me the night before the Friday night after the sale. You forced me back to your hotel. I willingly.
Was bad the next day, Sarah.
That doesn't sound very appropriate, Sarah.
Good, no.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, shit. Wow.
She says.
You done what?
We're good.
Up at 6 o'clock the next morning to go on.
Oh, and you're engaged.
Australia.
And you went along with this?
Sarah's all right.
Easily led astray.
Stuart's inquiry.
But Yannick, she says there's tea in that pot there. I'll guarantee that'll be gin. I'll guarantee it.
It was definitely tea this time. It was Earl Grey.
Not now, though.
Not now.
I want to go back a bit, Darren, and see what Matty's done. He's got someone drunk and forced him into a hotel. I don't think we should have this on air.
Hang on.
No, definitely not.
It's too early in the day. We haven't got to the watershed yet.
I like to leave things to people's imaginations anyway. You can add to that story all you like now. Matty was there, I was there, there were other people involved. I got kidnapped, all right, but we all survived.
There are people involved. That sounds worse again.
Well, then, make of it what you will. Make of it what you will.
That's what. So with Joe there, well, it was good. It was a good night, Sarah. It was rough the next day. Oh.
Wow.
I didn't go to the track the next day. I sat in the hotel by myself with a pint, pondering my life.
I was genuinely on a bus at 8 a.m. with a bunch of Australians, Matty Craven and Tim Butt, going to Grosbois, and I've never hung on to a bottle of water so hard.
Oh, it's horrible.
Honestly, the impression the Australians got of me must have been absolutely horrific when they met on the Saturday morning.
So this is the global harness racing family. Watson, you'll be on water all weekend. You're a sportsman. You've got a big day Sunday. And will I be interviewing you?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
Quite possible.
Yeah, well, good luck with Rhyds Star.
You've got a good chance. But Darren, Sarah's friend, what do you call her? The little blonde girl from America, does all the...
Sarah's friend, the little blonde girl, whose name you can't remember. She's Heather Vitale.
Heather Vitale. I bought her a bottle of... When she first come in, I bought her a bottle of champagne. Never seen her again.
So, how many bottles of champagne have you bought me? For all the things that I've ever done for you, where was my bottle of champagne?
But you like gin, Sarah? You like gin, so...
You've not bought me a bottle of gin yet?
I'll buy you a nice bottle of champagne next time, Sarah.
Sarah, what's
I'll remind the blonde girl from America that she owes you a dance. You know what I mean? Like that bottle of champagne, at least you get a dance.
She was like,
but you can't kidnap that one, right?
She was like Tall Dark Stranger. She was off. Yeah, she's nice. She was nice. She's a nice Heather. She is a nice person.
Sarah, what's your best bet at Tir Prince Sunday?
Best bet on Sunday. I'm going to go with. I'm going to say Colford Tetrick.
Yeah.
Colford Tetrick, 50-yard trail in that 4-horse handicap, but I just think that the driver is going to send him straight away. He's probably going to clear the field well before the half, run away with it.
Colford Tetrick in race 3. Tir Prince Sunday, midday through until 1:40. The Green Hornet Grand Final, the highlight of the day. That meeting will be live streamed. Good luck to Watson Harrop. And Yannick, many thanks for the donation for the colours. We really do appreciate it.
No problem. I told Watson anytime, if something else you guys need, a helmet or something down the road, maybe we can do something else. That's no problem. But just want to say, Watson,
the Green Hornet,
tell me the other day.
The success, there's a bit of success with the Green Hornet handicap. I think you're going to have to pledge something for the next 10 or 15 years, Yannick. We've had a little bit of Peter's been supported well. It might become a regular fixture in the British racing calendar, all being well.
Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely support it.
My stuff though. But hey, Watson, can I tell them what you told me about that race on Sunday?
Yes,
you can,
Yannick.
Come on, Yannick.
Tell us.
He told me that only a bad drive can get him beat. You know what I mean? He says, I can't lose this race. Only a bad drive can get me beat. That's what he said.
No pressure.
I really hope that's not cried before a fall, Watson. That is a fall.
It is the truth. I never actually told him that as well, but it is the truth. But you've got to take into consideration, I'm more than capable of giving a bad drive. So what?
So there you go. The best bet on Sunday, Rhyds Star Quality in the Green Hornet Grand Final.
Good luck, my man.
Sarah, is that it? Any more questions, Sarah?
I've no more questions, no, but I just wanted to personally thank Yannick. 2 years ago, Lexington, Yannick, you gave me a set of colours to bring back. I think I pestered you for a full day because you'd be like, come back tomorrow, get these colours. So the full day, I was like, where are these colours? And I just don't know if people in the UK were aware of that, but it's not the first time that you've supported harness racing here. So for anybody who has kind of watched this and gotten to know you a little bit tonight, I just wanted to say thank you anyway for the support that you've given us in the past. That money went to Scottish Harness Racing just to keep their racing going last year. So thank you from me. Thank you from the people of Scotland for that support. And thank you for what you've done with Watson to get the racing on at Tir Prince with the Green Hornet Handicap. So
it's very, very kind of Yannick. Very kind of him.
Yeah,
try and get him over, don't we, at one stage?
Would you come over, Yannick?
I'm going to get him over Kinsley. Remember that little grass track?
Kinsley.
I once sent him a video of Spring Hill Art winning round there, I think. Do you remember
the experience?
Turf track.
Would love to make it work one time, and maybe like it can come in for like a couple of days and have a driver championship. You know, me against Watson, just the two of us, head to head. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be cool.
It's a long way to come to get beat. You'd be boxed in New Jersey. Sure, you can get beat. You can get beat in Jersey. You don't have to come to England to get beat.
Win or lose, it'd be a great time.
It'll be a nice.
Actually, now that you've got this has led on to something. I actually spoke to Darren, right, midweek about the possibility of a drivers' tournament in the UK. Off the back of you, listen, with you being with you being a well-named driver, me and Darren spoke about it to maybe try and get a prize fund to go on, or try and get a little bit of collection of 10 whips from the drivers at the Meadowlands and try and raffle them or something like that there to put a prize fund where the prize would be for the winning driver, 10 drivers over the course of a couple of weeks. So it would need figuring out, but we're thinking about putting a drivers tournament together.
I'd be in for sure. Absolutely. Count me in. As long as we can make it work like schedule wise and it's not like during a big race here or something, I'm in.
So when could you come to the UK if you could, Yannick?
When could you come to the UK? You want to know? Could you fix it
tomorrow?
I've got a couple of 40-year-old French geldings there if you would like to drive.
No, but you know, if the weekends, of course, that's what you guys would want weekend, you know, so you have to be like early spring or late fall, which I know it's not ideal, you know. If we do it sometime during the week, you know, in the middle of the summer would work too, as long as it's not a weekend, you know, so we can communicate.
Nice.
It looks like it's Bobby Woodbound.
Yeah,
Bobby Woodbound.
Wood on a Thursday night.
I tell you what it is, Darren. I have to recommend you as well this year. What you've done, Darren, with like you say, first year as chair.
Darren's our chairman.
Darren's our chairman. Yannick can recommend what you've done, because we for one,
he's the Dean Hoffman of the UK.
We never thought we'd be racing this year, would we? You know what I mean? And that's how I ended up coming to getting more trotters, as you know, Sarah. I love my paces, you know what I mean? But with obviously all the turf racing, the grass racing, we've got a lot of them type of horses. I just seem to accumulate a few more trotters, and obviously York's been fantastic this year with Mick Wellen. He supported it unbelievable, and Eric down at Tir Prince, you know what I mean? It's and then up at Corby Wood, and I'm in Valley, which is way too far for me. It's York's far enough for me, but we're lucky we've got these tracks on with those, especially us for York. You know what I mean? He looks after her, and it's good, and everyone's pulled together this year, Darren, which has never happened before, really, has it, Darren? You know what I mean? Well, I don't think it has personally. So seems to be off the same. It's
been an absolutely wonderful season. When we did, when you bear in mind, in April and May, we didn't know if we were going to have a season. So all credit to all the license holders.
It's been fantastic, Darren.
Go on the road. Yeah.
And Darren,
it's usually the way it goes, right? In the hard times, that's when people come together. You know, it's sad that it has to be that way, but it's usually the way it works.
And I tell you what, I wouldn't do, Darren. I wouldn't buy a car off you, Darren. definitely not. I like to bet on the gallopers, as Watson and Darren knows. I like to bet on the thoroughbreds and think, well, funny enough, it's a Breeders' Cup tonight. I'll be having a bet tonight. Just a bit of fun. And I watched Darren on a Friday night at the bottom of Wales on the top of Scotland. Next morning, he's on the door at 8 o'clock in the morning at York with a gun to my head for the temperature on the COVID. I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't buy a car for you, Darren. Definitely not.
No. All right, Matty.
you do a mile or two, Darren.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's been like I say, from a negative start to the season where we didn't think we'd have a season. I think I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's been really good.
So basically, you've secured Yannick's services for next year. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yannick, it'll not be the same fees that you used to, but sorry about that.
Yeah.
We'll get you a Chinese.
We'll have a good time. That's the main thing.
Listen, guys, thank you very much for tonight. Thank you, Watson, Matty, Yannick, Sarah. Yannick, good luck with tonight. Good luck with the weekend.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on Sunday. We really do appreciate you, taking the time out to join us on the Sulky show tonight. Thank you very much.
No problem. Anytime.
And Darren, can I just have a little advert here? Darren.
Go on.
Yeah, I bought 2 stallions in for the French trotting. One's Ungaro de Bruy, and our Joe, to be fair with Joe, bought a nicer horse. He's a horse that's one of Vincent's. He's called Kernier. He's like a 112 horse, won a lot of money. So anybody wanting any mares served, will be free to go from next year, 2021. Sarah's going to come and give us a few photographs. Sarah?
I have offered to drive down and do a two stallions. Only because I imagine I get really good hospitality in that part of the world. So
yeah, you will, Sarah.
You owe me.
We'll take you in Newcastle for a good night out, Sarah.
No, I've already said no to this a few times. No.
Oh, who's been offering you to go to Newcastle, like?
Various people trying to Newcastle.
Jesus, Sarah, you're getting a name for yourself.
I know exactly. That is the problem.
You'll have a bottle of champagne waiting there for you when you take the pictures. You owes you a bottle of champagne. I got that part.
Right. So Yannick, we've got a date next year. We want to see you in Britain.
I would love to. Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Lovely.
Well, good
Definitely.
luck. Good luck tonight. Good luck the weekend. Thank you very much.